Good morning, Liara. How are you today?
Good morning. Thank you. I'm very good. How are you?
Not too bad. Thank you so very much. It's lovely to see you again. Excuse me, I've got this horrible voice this
It's okay.
morning, but hopefully you will manage to understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Liara, I've already checked your ID card, so I don't need to do that again, but I need you to please confirm your full name for me.
My full name is Nayara Mendoza Delgado.
Excellent. And Nayara, just for your information, but you don't need to remember any of it, your candidate number is 83850. Okay?
Okay.
Excellent, Nayara. Let me just minimize that grid, which I won't be using now, and maximize the thing which I will be using now myself. Just bear with me a second. Okay. Blah, blah. It's there. Okay. So, Nayara, why are you taking this business related exam?
Well, I think it's especially looking forward to my professional future. I think it's important to acquire, especially vocabulary in terms of business.
And what would you like to do in the future?
I'm looking into teaching, but I'm still open to whatever opportunities come to me.
Okay. And when it comes to the actual teaching, would it be the teaching of the language?
Yes, I've studied English linguistics and literature, so I would be interested in that, or Spanish as a second language, which is very relevant nowadays here in the Canary Islands.
Okay. Which one do you see yourself doing more professionally and why? If you had to pick one, that is.
Mm. I think I'm most comfortable with English because I've studied it for longer, but again, I'm open to anything.
Okay. Give me, please. You're not working at the moment, are you?
No, I'm not.
So
No.
give me a short description of your working day once you've begun working, say in about 2, 3, 4, 5 years time from now.
Well, if I'm assuming that I'd be working in the mornings, because teaching usually takes place then. Um, I think first of all you need to prepare your lessons and get all the resources you need in order to be able to teach the class properly. And then obviously engaging with students and having that time to for them to fully learn the language.
Do you see yourself teaching business English at all?
I haven't really looked at it, but I guess it could be a good option for the future.
Okay, whose idea was it to sit this business English exam? Was it yours? Was it your teacher's?
I hadn't heard of it before, so my teacher definitely introduced the idea, but I'm open to studying. I think studying is never negative.
Last year, you sat the Anglia Sight exam. Which preparation did you find harder? That of the sight exam or that of this business exam, and why?
I think business, but as I mentioned, it's the vocabulary. I think there's quite specific vocabulary and it's quite advanced. So whilst teaching might seem more natural, business was definitely a bit more difficult.
Okay, okay, Nayara, thank you. Now let's now move on to the second task of the test now, shall we?
Okay.
Which topic have you prepared to share with me today?
So I wanted to talk about remote work and
Okay.
its impact
Have you got
because
any slides, any images, anything to share with me, or would you rather
I have
not? Or cue
some
cards?
graphs.
Okay. Well, as you talk through your cue cards, if you want to show them to me, please feel free to do so. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anyway, the floor is yours.
So I wanted to talk about remote work because here in the Canary Islands, um, it only became really relevant after the COVID-19 pandemic. It was then that, as you can see here,
Yes,
I'll
I can
explain
indeed.
it to
Yes.
you. about 74% of employers were willing to allow remote work after the pandemic, and only 8% were completely opposed to that idea. But obviously, remote work has good parts and bad parts for both the employees and employers. In the case of the employees, there's obviously a lot of advantages in terms of flexibility and autonomy. You choose when to work, how to work, you structure your own schedules, and it's your decision how to do that. And also, a lot of employees have reported an improvement in their well-being and overall health just by working from home. And then, as we can see in this other graph,
Yeah.
some of the disadvantages. A lot of employees, 16%, sorry, of employees reported isolation. Obviously, you're working from home, you don't have contact with other employees. About 15% reported the distractions at home. So if you have kids around, you have family, it's hard to stay focused because there's so much input. And 27% reported their difficulty to disconnect. So obviously you're at home working, it may be hard to keep track of time and know when to stop working because it just becomes a habit, I guess. And then in terms of the employer, there's a lot of advantages as well, because people don't have to be where you are working. There's a wider talent pool because you can obviously hire people from all around the world who may be more experienced or more prepared in terms of studies. There's also a lot of cost saving for this very reason. You have smaller infrastructure, so you're saving. And there's an increase in productivity. I think this goes hand in hand with people being unable to disconnect. So you see people working more and more and more, and whilst that might not be beneficial to the worker, the employer can definitely benefit from that. And in terms of disadvantages for the employer, there's obviously a reduced workplace relationships. People don't meet each other. I think that makes it more difficult, obviously.
Is it,
Also, sorry?
Nayara, would you say it's good not to have to need each other, or is it something negative? What do you think when it comes to the actual workplace or the actual work relationship between employer and employee and employee and employer?
I think it's negative because obviously relationships is not just in case of needing someone to do something for you, but if you know how other people work, and you have a great connection in terms of how you develop tasks and complete things, it helps the overall environment and it helps the business develop as it should, in my opinion.
And in about 5 years' time from now, would you rather be teaching online or be teaching presentially, and why?
I think in person is better. You lose a lot of interest from students when working online. It's easier for them to distract themselves. It's easier for them to let themselves go in terms of actually doing the work. So I'm more for in-person teaching, even though in terms of other works, I understand that hybrid work might be a good option because you get kind of the best of both worlds.
Okay. Do you have anything else to say to talk about on that topic?
No, no, not really. I think that it's important to understand there's benefits and drawbacks to remote work and to hybrid work, and you should adapt it to your needs as a business and as an employee.
Absolutely. How old are you now, if I may ask?
I'm 23 years old.
So during the pandemic, you were much younger than you are now. And did you have to actually do any online learning?
I did. It was my first year of uni,
Oops.
so yeah, quite difficult. And we had online classes one week, in-person classes the other week, and we switched. They were like group. It was very difficult, and it made it difficult to connect with other colleagues studying. and with the teachers as well, because they didn't recognize you from being in class with the masks. They didn't recognize you at home because people didn't turn on the cameras. So it's quite a different experience, yes.
Absolutely. I'm sure it was quite a bit of a challenge for all of us.
Oh, it was,
And
yeah.
I'm very happy to say that has actually stayed in the past and hopefully to never come back.
Yes.
Anyway,
Hopefully
okay, now for the third and last task of a test today, I'm going to be sharing the screen with you. And I'll
Okay.
show you a list of topics which I have highlighted in blue. I'll give you about 1 minute. Read through that list of just about 1 minute. Read through that list of topics, and when time's up, I'll ask you to pick one and we'll talk about it. Okay? Thank
Okay.
you. Nayara, are you ready?
Yes.
So which one would you like to talk about yourself?
I would like to talk about whether companies should have a dress code for their employees.
Okay, interesting. So what do you think? In about 2 or 3 minutes, tell me what you think about that. Should companies have a certain dress code for their employees?
So personally, I think that it isn't really needed to have a dress code. Obviously, there's jobs where, for example, a policeman or a doctor needs a uniform, not only to identify themselves, but also for their safety. But in general, for example, if you work in an office, there should be an unspoken rule about what it is to dress accordingly. So, same thing, you wouldn't wear a raincoat and boots to the beach. You shouldn't be wearing summer clothes to the office or flip-flops. Um, dress code goes further than just clothes. And whilst some companies say dress code promotes equality, it can also be discriminatory because, well, people of color have reported being discriminated because of wearing afros or dreads. And I think you should also be cautious about letting those kind of details that don't actually affect the way you work and your skills from like taken away from the actual use of a dress code, which should be to either identify yourselves or keep safe in your workplace. Also, a lot of people say that they are kind of outdated, and I kind of agree. There's definitely professions where forcing women to stay in skirts, it's not really a good thing. It can also be costly to have to pay for a uniform, especially in companies that require you to change the uniform every year.
Do you, do,
It's
do you think that if a company chooses to go for a certain dress code in the case of their employees, should the company pay for the employees' clothes, or should the employees be in charge of paying for their clothes?
I think it should be the company because you're the one wanting to have a certain image as well. Um, so as long as it's not something super eccentric and different, the company should be able to provide that for their employees if it's really what they want.
Okay. Would you say that wearing a uniform is never a good thing?
No, again, I think there's professions where you need to have a uniform because it keeps you safe. For example, if you're a handyman, you need special boots to not hurt yourself. You need certain clothes that help your work.
Okay. What is the role, or rather than what is and what should be, in your opinion, the role of the tie in men these days?
I think that overall, if the uniform is uncomfortable, or a part of the uniform is uncomfortable, why is it in place, you know? If we can have people look formal in formal circumstances, and there's no need for them to be choking on a tie, then there's not really a need for it, you know?
Why would you say that there are still places where a certain register of formality is needed?
I don't really know, but I guess you expect certain spaces to stay formal. So for someone you see every day, which is your colleagues and stuff, you assume that the space is more casual. You could just wear a t-shirt and jeans and be ready. But if you're meeting with someone you've never met before, and I don't know, if you're meeting with a lawyer, you understand that there's
Or
yeah.
you just hit the nail on the head. Why should a lawyer wear a tie and not a male primary school teacher?
See, I understand schools as more. I know it's not casual, but understand what I'm saying. It's more of a casual thing. I don't think there should be that much of a distinct. Not. I don't know how to explain myself. Obviously, the teacher's the authority in the room, but a suit and pants aren't going to give you that authority. There's other ways to present that strictness in a classroom without your clothes being the thing that are changing everything.
Okay. What when you start teaching yourself, what type of clothes would you like to be able to choose to wear yourself?
Again, comfortable clothes. I don't think I should be in heels, or skirts for me are even uncomfortable. I don't think it fits my lifestyle. But as long as I'm not wearing any rude messages on t-shirts, for example, or I guess provocative clothing, even though there's a bit of a debate on that. Again, if you're respectful towards your students, that's what should matter, and not what I'm wearing.
Okay. Okay, Nayara, thank you very much. That is the end of the test. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week and beautiful weekend ahead of yourself. Okay? Thank you
Thank
so
you.
very
You too.
much.
Have a
Take
nice
care.
day.
And yourself.